Welcome to the Cinebuds Podcast. In today's episode, we'll discuss which actor will be the next James Bond, the most recent box office bombs, Disney's long trek to Netflix, and the potential of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. The Cinebuds Podcast starts right now. Welcome to the Cinebuds Podcast, where we talk about all things fantastic in the world of movies. I'm Matt Cook, and with me always is Garrett Dennert.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I'm good.
Hey, we got a few topics to cover tonight. We're going to jump into the first movie news topic, and that is Tom Hiddleston is currently rumored to be in talks to play James Bond.
How do you feel about that?
I honestly really like it.
Yeah? Yeah, I like Tom. I think that I feel my opinion on the James Bond stuff is slightly different. I'd rather just not see any more made, I think.
Maybe they could take a little break, maybe a little 5-year hiatus.
Yeah, at least. I don't know. When I think of James Bond, I just think of what else they could do, I guess, or where something like that could go, where I don't think it needs to be a franchise anymore. It's been 50 plus years.
Right.
I feel like there's plenty for us to continue to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I get trying to cater to current generation or the current generation and future generations, but man, I don't know. I don't know why it's still so big.
Yeah. If they are to continue doing James Bond movies, I think Tom Hiddleston is a great person for the role. He has that, that English gentleman charm and suaveness to him, but him as an actor, it's hard to me to picture, especially where they've gone with Daniel Craig. The James Bond movies are almost now Jason Bourne type movies,
right?
Or even Mission Impossible type movies, all the action. I mean, they've always had the car chase scenes, but the hand-to-hand type combat type of stuff that they really introduced with the Daniel Craig movies. It's just hard for
the
me.
Parkour too, didn't they?
All the parkour elements. It's hard for me to picture Tom Hiddleston doing that. To me, I see him being almost more of a Pierce Brosnan type James Bond.
Yeah, I like that.
Not necessarily the brute force type Bond that Daniel Craig was. But yeah, I definitely agree with you that I would like to see maybe a little break, because we've had them every 2 years for the past however many years. And I don't know, I would just like to see a fresh new approach for James Bond, because it's kind of been the same formula for, as long as, I mean, they've changed it up here and there, but it's still the same. Right. Same type of thing.
You're gonna get some kind of vehicular chase. You're gonna get
him
just banging ladies. You're gonna get him drinking. You're gonna it's the same shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I've enjoyed some James Bond movies. I really enjoyed the Daniel Craig run.
Mm-hmm,
I loved Casino Royale.
Aside from Quantum.
Yeah, I hated that one. But I really liked Skyfall.
Yeah, Skyfall was excellent. However, what was the most recent one? Shit. I saw it.
I haven't seen that one. I gave up.
It wasn't that great.
It was another Sam Mendes one.
Yeah, and he's actually, I think he said that he's not going to do any more James Bond movies.
Really?
I think he said he was done, taking a break from it. Because he's done quite a few of them, the last.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he did. I don't think he did Casino Royale. I know that he did Skyfall, and I think that he did. All right, we need to look it up.
Yeah, we're currently looking it up. But
it sucks that we can't fucking remember.
Yeah, I know. I feel terrible.
Spectre.
Yeah, Spectre was not that great. And they totally underutilized Christoph Waltz, I thought.
I can see that. The guy's a talent.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean he's not like a physical presence, because they had Dave Bautista. He was playing that role, but I don't know. I just thought he could have been utilized so much more. Like just him in Inglourious Bastards and how just he got under your skin so well in Inglourious Bastards.
in every language.
Yeah, in every language. And I was just hoping to see, and he did have some like comedic elements in Inglourious Bastards. Like he would be smiling as he was about to commit some like ridiculous crime or like murder people. But I was just hoping I'd get some of that vibe to his character. But
it just wasn't there.
Yeah, and the ending wasn't very good at all either.
Yeah, and I wonder how much of that is, I don't know, because I think the goal from the studios and like the reason why they keep James Bond coming back and coming back and coming back in different forms is to cater to different audiences. Whereas like the Sean Connery James Bond isn't gonna fit with kids, and so it's interesting to think, because I don't think the franchise is going anywhere, like despite me wanting it to. Like I think it's here to stay, and like probably for the next 50 years they'll still keep making James Bond movies. And so it's really interesting to think about who's gonna like best fit this generation. Yeah, where like there's been a lot of talks of a black James Bond, a lot of talks about even a female version, or Jane Bond. Yeah. But like if you had to choose one person, who do you think would be your best choice?
I honestly don't know.
Would it be Tom?
I really like the choice of Tom. I mean, I did see like Crimson Peak recently, which I didn't really care too much for, but just I don't know. I just think he's a phenomenal actor, and I just think he could really fill in the shoes of James Bond and bring, even more like Daniel Craig. I felt like he lacked a lot of that like classic James Bond like personality,
the suave.
Yeah, he was more of like a brooding type James Bond, where I kind of want that more classic James Bond to come back.
Gotcha. You're a Pierce fan.
Oh yeah. I mean, like GoldenEye. I mean, that's probably like one of my favorite.
Well, like, how would you feel about a Tom Hardy? Because I know that he's like, I don't think there's any rumor necessarily. Like, no one that I've seen is saying like, oh, he's in talks to do it. But like, a lot of people have come out with their different lists and their wishes for who it would be, and like he's always, from what I've seen, right behind Tom Hiddleston. And I was thinking about that, and I wanted to hear what you thought, because like I just don't really see that working.
No, I don't know. To me, it'd almost be like, I'm sure his portrayal of James Bond would be almost pretty similar to Daniel Craig's. Okay, like that brooding type James Bond. But I don't know. I just want to go somewhere different with it and bring it back more to the classic James Bond roots. I wouldn't complain if Tom Hardy got cast as James Bond, but I don't know. I would just like it to go somewhere a little different.
Right. Yeah, I feel like with Hardy, my initial feeling is that it wouldn't work. And I think some of it is just, I don't know. It sucks that I'm just like cast typing him, where it's like I've seen him in like The Revenant, where he's gritty as fuck, and
Mad Max,
and even Warrior, where he's just real beefy and like throwing people around, and it's like you mentioned Tom Hiddleston being a good fit for the suave part. Yes, and like I don't know. I still think of James Bond as this smooth, suave type, and I don't think Tom Hardy's smooth and suave. Like, no. I think maybe he could be.
Yeah, I think he could be, but I don't know.
He just doesn't come to my mind.
No,
like Idris Elba kind of does.
Yeah, I would be completely fine with Idris Elba.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see
I
that
wouldn't
one.
have any complaints with him.
No, like, no, I think he'd do a good job. Like, it sounds really weird to be saying it, but like, I think the only thing for me holding him back is his body type, where it's just like he's a big dude.
Yeah,
and there's nothing saying that he can like, or that nothing saying that he can't lean out and kill it in that role. But just at first glance, it's like, I don't know. Like, again, speaking to the suave, smooth thing, like physically. Another one I saw was someone actually suggested Jason Statham.
Hey, I think that would be a good time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just like Transporter.
I know. Yeah, it would be exactly like Transporter. He actually has this movie coming out in, like next year or the year after about him like fighting like a 50-foot megalodon shark.
What?
Yeah, it's no joke. You heard it first. Yeah, but
like, I feel like people would just think it was silly if that was the case. If
Right.
Jason Statham were.
yeah.
Because the person saying it almost sounded like they weren't taking it seriously, where they're just like, well, we've never had a bald James Bond, so maybe we could go there. It's like, I don't think that's like that educated of a
Right.
suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, people had an uproar when Daniel Craig was cast being a blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy.
Yeah. And he was sort of like, he wasn't a complete unknown,
No.
but he definitely wasn't headlining movies.
Right.
And I saw some reports too that were kind of trying to take a stab at someone that could be exactly that like has been a character actor, or that has like been behind the stars and are gonna like get their chance. And some of those were kind of interesting to see. Like Kit Harington was one that like kind of made me turn my head a little. Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and then Richard Madden, who played Robb Stark in Game of Thrones, Matthew Good, Jack Houston, and I don't know, it's going to be really interesting to see. Like, hopefully they make an announcement soon. I think I do see now that Sam Mendes did drop out, and everyone that's like been talking in the media is just like, it's not up to us.
Right.
So like no one's talking to the people that it's up to. So hopefully soon.
Right. All right. So we're going to move on to our next topic. Disney is coming to Netflix. From September on, Netflix will be the exclusive pay TV home of the latest movies from Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, and Pixar. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's pretty huge, actually.
Yeah, it's
like,
massive.
Yeah, it was bigger than I initially thought, just because, I don't know, we've talked about this a couple times outside of the show here, where it's just, I struggle with figuring out what to consume and when.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's just so much out there, and I don't know, I stick to Netflix, HBO, and Hulu, and just like have my own shows that I particularly like on each one. Or I mean, I go to Netflix for movies and documentaries, and I don't know, I struggle. I just like flip back and forth and back and forth, and I see myself doing it more like as Disney is coming over, but like it's pretty exciting. I know that there were some complaints about Netflix's offering of movies and like what was going to be streaming, and people just weren't very happy with the selection. Right. And I think this will sort of mend that. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it definitely ups the quality of content in the next Netflix library. And for me, I just stick to, I mean, my wife and I have pretty much cut cable out of our lives. Like we have the bare minimum package, and I can't even recall the last time I've even turned like my cable box on to even watch TV.
Yeah.
So, and as far as Netflix, I've fallen asleep scrolling through the Netflix library, which, I mean, I really enjoy some of the stuff they have on there, but I put it on a lot, like once I get into bed, and I don't know, it's just there's so much, and to just spend, I don't know, I'd probably spend 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes like each time. Like if sometimes I know going in, like before I turn my TV on, what I want to watch, just from kind of remembering the library.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes if I don't know what I want to watch, it'll be 10, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
I'll still be trying to find something I want.
Well, do you think the addition of these titles will change that at all? Like, do you think that you'll be going to Netflix with like a different thing in mind, or will it make you less apt to watch these things elsewhere? Because like I think that so like Disney movies that were in theaters in 2016 are going to be put directly on Netflix. Like, I mean, I don't know like the time frame after that, but it's just, would it make you not go to the movies, for example? Depending on the title, probably.
Well, do you think like what's some Disney movies that came out? Oh, like Zootopia came out earlier this year. I think it'll be more movies that like once they're coming out on like DVD or Blu-ray, I think maybe they'll instantly go up on Netflix. Do you think that's what that means? Instead of coming out in theaters and on, I don't think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think that's more in line with what I was picturing, was that like not at the same time, not like a simultaneous.
But you just mean like I would watch it on Netflix.
So
wait 6 months until it comes out on Netflix.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it depends. Like, if a Disney movie doesn't have stellar reviews,
gotcha.
I might wait and just watch it on like Netflix and not spend the money to see it in theaters. But like a Pixar movie, I'll go see that in theaters for sure.
Right.
But I definitely think this brings a stronger brand recognition to just the average like family, whether or not they're gonna get a Netflix subscription for their family.
Yeah, and I think for me, I don't know how much it's gonna change how I go to Netflix and what I view on Netflix. Just because I do love trying to find like more like independent type gem things.
Yeah, totally.
And I think that maybe because I'll throw my hat in with the crowd that's just like they kind of offered some shit movies for a while.
Oh yeah.
And because like I remember seeing one, forgot the name because it wasn't worth remembering, but it was about like a serial killing tire. Like just this car tire just bouncing down a fucking highway. Jesus. And just like it's a serial killer. It's just like why?
Yeah.
Like who's watching that?
Right. And well, like, they have like every Sharknado movie on there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of those like B type movies.
And it would force me into either like because for a long time I just had Netflix. I didn't have the other two that I mentioned, Hulu,
right.
HBO. Like, and so it would force me into finding either like highly rated documentaries or getting into a new show. And I don't know if I don't think it's going to change that for me, but I can see it changing it for some people where like, I think that it could have a big impact on like how people see Disney movies. Like maybe it won't stop them from going to the theater, but like them wanting to see Disney movies once it gets to Netflix is going to maybe drown out some of the smaller things that helped Netflix kind of get its name.
Yeah.
So like I think this deal it's huge for Netflix and that it's kind of like a facelift in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see it as that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yep. All right. So moving on. This summer has had a rough start for a few blockbuster sequel. Mainly Alice Through the Looking Glass. Its opening weekend was down 77% from the 2010 Alice in Wonderland, which
is a lot.
Yeah. And that 2010 Alice in Wonderland movie made just over $1 billion. Also, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows movie was down 46% from the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Also, X-Men Apocalypse, its opening weekend was down 28% from X-Men Days of Futures Past, which came out in 2014. Why do you think these summer sequels have had such a rough start?
I'm not sure. Like, I think that with Alice, my initial reaction is just the time that's passed between.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, 6 years.
Because it's to a specific audience.
Yeah,
and like 6 years. So imagine you saw the first one when you were 12, and now you're 18, and like you really don't give a shit about Alice in Wonderland. Like, at least temporarily. Like, maybe you'll return to it a little bit later. But
yeah,
those same people that like went and saw the first one and loved it, like maybe they just, I don't know, like they just don't love it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it's a strange time lapse.
Well, and okay, Avatar came out, I think, December of 2009, which created that short like 3D movie boom. And this came out, I think, spring, like March or April of 2010. So just like 3 or 4 months after that. So I think that had, part of the reason why that movie made so much money, because it was like the next big 3D movie to come out in theater. So I think that greatly affected its box office. But I mean, for me, I haven't seen Alice Through the Looking Glass, thank God, because I heard it was terrible. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows and X-Men Apocalypse, to me, those movies they weren't up to par as what they should have been. So I think that's part of the reason why they didn't make as much.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at just IMDb ratings earlier today, and saw that, so like comparatively, so like the first Alice movie, 6.5 rating, and then the one that just came out, Through the Looking Glass, 6.4. And
okay,
Turtles, first one 5.9, second one 6.5, and then X-Men went from, in 2014, 8.0 to now 7.5 with Apocalypse.
So that's not too much of a...
Yeah, so like beyond the years that they came out, like that was my first guess, was like maybe the fans just don't like it, but like that doesn't seem to be it either. Like, I'm not... Yeah. It's kind of a strange thing. I'm wondering if America is kind of tired of sequels.
Yeah, it's possible. Especially with superhero movies, there's been a lot of talk of like superhero movie fatigue or comic book movie fatigue. And I mean, obviously Captain America Civil War made like truckloads of money, but I don't know. I just think these, especially X-Men Apocalypse, I don't think it came out the right time, with Captain America Civil War being out like 3 weeks before it. I don't know. I just think it was bad timing, and it wasn't having the greatest reviews leading up to it. But I don't know. It's just, I don't think there's comic book movie fatigue at all, but I do think there is fatigue with certain sequels and reboots as well, especially like Alice Through the Looking Glass. Like, I don't think that movie or the 2010 movie needed a sequel, and for it to take 6 years, like, you got to expect to miss out on a lot of money, like with a 6-year gap between movies.
Yeah, like I'm sort of the belief that, I don't know, a lot of movies just don't fucking need sequels.
No.
We're like, that's exactly it. Like, why? I don't see why Alice in Wonderland would need one. Like, X-Men, I sort of understand.
Yeah,
like,
they're doing a franchise and all
and
that shit.
Like TMNT, like I didn't see the first one because it's no longer up my alley.
Yeah.
Like I had the turtle action figures when I was a kid, and like I watched the cartoon and stuff, and I don't know, beyond that, like I don't know, I just feel like it's just not for me anymore.
Right.
And so like naturally, like when another one comes out, I was just like, why? Like, was there really enough from the first one? And I feel that way so often that like I would love for a lot of sequels to go away. So secretly I'm hoping that people are sick of them, but like I really don't know if that's the case. Like, we just got done talking about James Bond, where it's just over 50 years worth of movies. And that's not really going away. Like it has some superior staying power. And like, I think maybe these franchises that kind of like struck it lucky once, like, or franchise is too big of a term, but like you mentioned the timing of Alice in Wonderland, and that makes sense where it's just people were excited about 3D.
Yeah.
And people were still excited about Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so much anymore, but
no,
we don't need to get into any more.
Yeah. It was just like great timing, and they thought they had staying power, and they're finding out that maybe they don't.
Right. All right. So now we're going to delve into some Twitter questions. Haley Bowman 10 on Twitter asks, books and novels turned into films. How do you watch without being disappointed? Well, for me personally, you just don't read the book. I don't know. I've never been too much of a book reader. I mean, I love seeing.
What was the last book you read?
Actually, I have Star Wars Lost Stars.
Okay.
I'm like halfway through it, maybe 2/3 of the way through it, but it's probably been like 2 months since like I'll go in spurts of reading, like with reading that book. Like I'll pick it up like in bed for like an hour or two.
Yeah.
And like blow through a few chapters, and then I won't touch it for like a month.
Right.
It's just hard for me to.
Is it not one that like it doesn't need to be like cover to cover necessarily? Like I don't know. Like it's like it's totally cool waiting that long. Like, do you ever lose your?
No, not really. Like I can retain like what it's about and the characters pretty well. I don't know. It's just hard for me to like just sit and read a book. Like, I don't know. I just would rather watch something visually, or I don't know. That's just my personality and like how I like to absorb like information, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm just lazy.
Hey, don't be hard on yourself, man.
I know.
Like, I think for me the difference between books and movies and why it doesn't always translate is just senses. Where like with movies and TV shows, you're limited to two senses, audio or like hearing and sight. Whereas like with a good book, like it's supposed to be tapping into every sense that you have. So like they can tell you how things smell in that world, and they can tell you how things taste in that world. But like unless an actor like says that smells bad, right? Or like that smells like eggs or something like that, like you're not getting that sense of smell. And I think that there have actually been attempts, I don't know, I don't remember which years, but I think people like actually tried to shoot out smells in a theater to try to like get that extra sense in. So like at a point in a movie, they would like shoot out like some like shitty smell, and people are just like
someone's making breakfast and they shoot out smells of like eggs and bacon.
Yeah.
That's messed up, man. They probably charge like an extra $2 for that too.
They'd have to
for smell-o-vision.
They gotta pay for that bacon.
Yeah. Well, eggs. And you only have like with movies, you only have roughly 2 hours or so to adapt what, like a 800-page book into a 2-hour movie. Like, I mean,
it's tough.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, what works in a book doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work on screen, like with physical actors, and it's a whole nother game.
And I think for adaptations, like casting is probably the number one. Like writing, obviously, because you need to figure out how to jam those 800 pages into 2 hours.
Yeah.
But then it's casting.
Yeah.
Because like those people, at least my belief is with all those senses and stuff, you get a better feel for who those people are. And like if those people don't fit what you think or like what the majority thinks, like no one's going to see that movie.
Right. Because people, they use their imagination and they create images in their brain of like what these characters look like and how they act. And sometimes from what the writer writes, it's not necessarily like what's in the writer's head doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily the same as what the reader sees,
Right.
The writer and reader interpret things kind of differently. And I think that's what's cool about books is that each person can kind of have their own interpretation of the material. And
yeah. And like what you mentioned about not being the same from writer to reader. I mean, even writer to writer where,
yeah, that's true too.
So the novelist, their vision won't line up with how the screenwriter sees it.
Yeah.
And there are just so many different factors that go into that adaptation. And like a lot of people try to say like treat it as its own separate thing, but that's asking a lot of the audience. Like that's to just be like, these things aren't associated. It's like, no, they clearly are associated. And I don't know, there have been some great adaptations that
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, those were great. Like I think the ones that I point to are actually better than the books, better than the source material. Like, so Fight Club, like I read that book, hated that book.
Yeah. Well, Jaws was a book.
Yep.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Is that Michael Crichton?
I believe so. That sounds very familiar. I think it is him.
No Country for Old Men.
That's a great movie. Is
Yeah.
that the Coen brothers?
That is.
Very good.
And they also did True Grit, which is another adaptation.
Right.
And I think that, in my opinion, the Coen brothers do it best. Like, where, I mean, I loved the book True Grit, and I loved the book No Country for Old Men, but like, they really capture the tone of those books, and like, in a way that seems to surpass like the way I saw it. You know? Like, and so good or like solid adaptations, they do add their own flavor to it, and they do it in a subtle way, I think, that just enriches the experience through and through. So any sort of drastic shift to that, like, people are just outraged, and I get it. Like, I totally get it.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into Nostalgia's Corner.
What's your choice?
All right.
I look forward to this every week.
So did I tell you yet?
No.
Okay. So mine's not necessarily a movie, but it is the 1990s X-Men cartoon series. Did you ever watch this?
I did. I loved Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine was great. Gambit was great.
Yep.
Just overall, this show was so good. I even have it like on DVD. Like, to me, like,
You still watch it?
yes, I still every once in a while I'll bust it out. But like, this is the epitome of 90s like cartoon shows for me. It was just so good and fun. And for me, like, I kind of want these X-Men movies to go more into the style of these. Not necessarily like the cheesiness, but I just want them to be a little more fun.
Dude, I'd love to see like Hugh Jackman in that fucking costume. That's just like, it's yellow.
He's only got one more movie and he's
Really?
done. Yeah, Wolverine.
Well, get him
3.
in a suit.
I know. I want him in the yellow freaking spandex.
Yeah.
But this show was just so good, and it's such a part of my childhood.
Yeah. I remember my brother and I watching that.
Yeah, and the theme song. Oh, the theme song is probably one of the best parts. That intro for the show is so good.
I like that choice.
Yeah. All right. So what's yours?
You ready for this?
I am ready. Give it to me.
I don't know. I don't think I'm as proud of this one as I have been of the past two, but
Maybe next time you'll be.
I'm going to say Big Daddy.
I like Big Daddy.
Yeah. And a lot of it was just it made me look at comedy a little bit differently. Because like, so when Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore came out, like I was 5 and 6, and like Adam Sandler was very much like frat boy slapstick type comedy. And
yeah, he changed it up in this one.
yeah, and it made me feel as if like I could laugh at that too. Like I didn't have to keep laughing at Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, and that was it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't watch Adam Sandler movies now. Like, so that's why I'm not.
Does.
Yeah, that's why I'm not like too proud of it. But like, I remember liking Big Daddy a lot, and like for a long time I did. It'd be on TV or something, and I wouldn't mind picking it up like an hour in. I'm just like, yeah,
it's a good time.
Yeah, I still like this movie. And so I think it just came at a time in my life where it's just like, it's okay, Garrett. It's like, you can grow up a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Like just a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, what like age group? I mean, at the time, like looking back at like Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore, like what like age group was that aimed towards?
I think it was like high schoolers at the time.
Yeah. And then,
we were below that age group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess,
and so at least for me, I'm just like, I'm really onto something here. Like
right.
I'm ahead of the ball game.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess after those movies, he came out with like The Wedding Singer.
Yeah,
and then I think The Wedding Singer and like Big Daddy, you know, they were aiming towards like that older audience, especially for like date movies. Like they were aiming for that older audience. But yeah, I really, really like Big Daddy still to this day.
Well, like, here's an interesting sidebar. Like, what the fuck are they like aiming for now?
Dude,
like,
I don't know.
I don't get the choices.
Like Pixels and I started watching The Do-Over on Netflix. I didn't think
it was. The Do-Over. Was that with him and Spade?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I think it just came out on Netflix maybe like a week or two ago, but I didn't think it was terrible.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't anything like special, but like
I've been scared away from Sandler.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember when it started, but like,
is it like Click?
Maybe. Like I'll change that maybe to a probably. I didn't hate the movie, but it's just like, I don't know. I just didn't think he was funny anymore. And like then soon after that was like Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2 and just go with it. And I don't know. I just started like dismissing anything that he did where I'm like,
is it Jack and Jill?
Yeah, that was one too.
Yeah.
He did Bedtime Stories. I remember some people talking about that and enjoying it, but again, like I'd already dismissed him.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. He was for a certain time in my life that I thought he was funny, and like now I don't.
I think he'll have another comeback in a couple years.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on, Brie Larson is rumored to be the front runner to play Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, in the 2018 film. This will be the first female-led superhero movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Garrett, what are your thoughts on Brie Larson as Captain Marvel?
I love Brie Larson. Just recently I watched Short Term 12, so it was a 2013 movie. And I don't know, like my only exposure to her prior to that had been 21 Jump Street, I think.
She just had kind of like a small role in that, right?
Yep.
I don't remember who she played in that.
She was Jonah Hill's love interest.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll have to rewatch that.
Yep. And she didn't have a whole lot to do in that movie. Like, but watching her in Short Term 12, like, she was great. I'd highly recommend that movie, by the way. But I still haven't seen Room. Really, really want to.
Yeah, I need to watch it too.
But like, I think she can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think that she would bring, I mean, based off of my limited exposure to Brie Larson's work, I really have high hopes that like she would bring like this human side to it, that she's being taken seriously as this powerhouse type actress now.
Yeah, for sure.
And I look at the choices of say like Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, and like I look at like what Iron Man did for Robert Downey Jr. and what Robert Downey Jr. did for Iron Man. And it's just, you're getting this caliber of talent coming into it, and it instantly just like legitimizes the movie. Like in my eyes, it's just like, it makes me pay more attention to it. Like I remember, I don't know, I want to say with Captain America, like when Chris Evans was announced, like I wasn't a big Chris Evans fan.
No, I mean, he'd just been coming off of the Fantastic Four movies playing Johnny Storm. It's like,
yeah, and so it did nothing to excite me about it.
I agree. Yeah.
So I mean, what do you feel?
Anytime they add like someone with incredible acting talent, like I'm completely on board. If looking at the movie Doctor Strange, where you have Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Mads Mikkelsen, like that movie is just stacked, and I'm just so excited that Marvel's bringing on like these top tier actors.
Yeah.
Because it just brings these movies to a whole nother level. And I just love when you just get actors that, you know, they truly bring it in these characters, like Robert Downey Jr. He has become Tony Stark.
Yeah.
As well as like Chris Evans now, like that guy has embodied like Captain America, and even like later down the road, like I don't know if they're going to continue with these like current Avengers characters, but at some point we're not going to have these actors playing these characters anymore. I mean, it's been like 8 years at this point now. So eventually they're going to have to move on, but I'm really excited to see Brie Larson I think her character will be taking the reins of the Avengers leading up to, or starting in phase 4 of the MCU. So I just think she's going to be great.
Yeah. I think that like getting that kind of talent really ups the universe. Like, and it makes people like me, who's kind of like not against superhero movies, but like I'm not their target, not their target audience. I don't think, but it makes me pay attention, and it's just like, okay, like maybe I will go see that, or like maybe I'll give that a shot when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Right.
But also like I think that it's gonna make the Academy pay attention, because like this past year, like I think we talked about this a little bit in episode 1, like the diversity in like best picture, the diversity in like best actor and actress, where like what kinds of movies are those nominations coming from?
Yeah.
And it's just like, so maybe next year like Benedict Cumberbatch will be like nominated for best actor, or like in 2019 like Brie Larson like best actress. Like, and these are superhero movies. Like I think it's very indicative of like the giant shift like that has happened in the past decade towards superhero movies. And I don't know, like I think that Brie Larson would kill it.
Yeah. All right, so I think that'll do it for the third episode of the Cinebuds podcast. Garrett, where can people find you online?
People can find me at orsonspublishing.com. It is a book publishing company that I just launched last week. Would love for you to check it out. I think you'd like it. Also on Twitter at Garrett Dennert. Hit me up.
All right. Awesome.
Where can they find you, Matt?
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Rex Overdrive, as well as my YouTube channel where I do funny YouTube reviews. I talk about some fun things in the movie industry, whether it's trailers or any movie news that comes out. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to the Cinebuds podcast.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.